Valentine's Day.
Hmm.
For most people, it's chocolates, roses, all that lovey-dovey stuff, right?
Right.
But the story behind it, I got to tell you, it's way more complicated, way more interesting than you might think.
Yeah.
We're going deep, deep dive here, folks, into the real story, the history behind this holiday.
Yeah, going way back.
And we've got some excerpts here from St. Valentine's story, The Origin of Valentine's Day.
Okay.
Prepare yourself for some twists and turns.
Definitely.
We're going to be traveling all the way back to ancient Rome.
Wow.
Because, we think Valentine's Day, we think romance.
Mm-hmm.
It had to start that way. Right. Wrong.
Uh-oh.
We're actually starting with something called Lupercalia. Ever heard of it?
Lupercalia, yeah. That was a pagan festival, if I remember correctly.
You remember correctly? A pagan festival. And not exactly what you'd call romantic.
Okay.
This was about fertility.
Yeah, it was a fertility festival, and it took place in February, actually from February 13th to 15th every year. And for the Romans, fertility and the coming of spring, that was huge.
Oh, yeah. Their entire livelihood depended on it.
Absolutely. A good harvest. That
Right.
made all the difference. So they thought this Lupercalia, it helped ensure a prosperous year, by appealing to the gods.
So we're talking full-on ancient Roman rituals here.
Oh, yeah. We're talking animal sacrifices, huge feasts, and even get this, a matchmaking lottery.
Hold on, a lottery.
Yeah, they put the names of young men and women into a big urn, draw them out randomly to be paired up for the whole festival. And guess what? A lot of those pairings, they actually ended up getting married. Can you imagine? Leaving your love life totally up to chance like that?
Talk about a different kind of dating app, huh?
Yeah.
But okay, so we've got this wild fertility festival. Then how in the world do we get to St. Valentine? What's the connection?
Okay, well, let's fast forward a couple of centuries to 3rd century Rome. We've got a Roman priest named Valentine. He's living under the rule of Emperor Claudius II.
Ah, Claudius. Claudius the Cruel, if I'm not mistaken.
That's the one. Not exactly known for his romantic side.
That's putting it mildly. So Claudius, he had this whole thing against marriage, right?
Yeah.
Especially for his soldiers.
Exactly. He was convinced that single men, they made more dedicated soldiers. Less distracted, more focused on the empire.
Right, because love will make you do crazy things.
Tell me about it. But this is where Valentine steps in, and this is where things get interesting. He was completely opposed to Claudius's decree, you see. He truly believed in the sanctity of love and marriage, and he was willing to put himself on the line for it. So he kept performing secret Christian weddings for these soldiers, openly defied the emperor's orders.
Talk about a power clash. This was about more than just love, wasn't it?
You got it. You're talking about religious freedom here, challenging authority, all in a time of massive upheaval.
He was a true rebel with a cause, risking it all for love and what he believed in.
Absolutely. Yeah, going up against an emperor, that's a bold move.
To say the least. And it didn't exactly end well for him, did it?
Not exactly. He ended up in prison for his beliefs.
And that's where our modern Valentine's Day traditions really start to take shape.
It is.
Because this is where the famous Valentine note comes in, right?
This is it, yeah. And the story gets even more interesting here. So picture this. Valentine's in prison, and he becomes friends with the jailer's daughter.
Okay.
And as the story goes, right before he's executed, he sends her a note. And he signs it, "From your Valentine."
Wow. It's hard to imagine that one little note could turn into what we know today.
Right.
But, it makes you think, who was this guy, really? St. Valentine. Our source mentions that there might have been more than one Valentine running around back then.
Yeah, that's true. It's one of those historical mysteries. There were a few early Christian martyrs with the name Valentine, each one with their own story, their own acts of faith and sacrifice. It's possible that the Valentine we think of on February 14th, he might be like a mashup of these guys, We'll probably never know for sure.
A true Valentine's Day mystery.
Yeah.
But either way, he became this huge symbol, right? Love, obviously, but also this defiance, standing up for what you believe in when the stakes are incredibly high.
Absolutely.
But how do we get from a saint's feast day to boxes of chocolates and all the commercial stuff?
Well, that's where Pope Gelasius I comes in.
Okay.
Back in 496 AD, he makes February 14th St. Valentine's Day officially. This is right when the early church was trying to figure out what to do about all these old pagan traditions, like our friend Lupercalia.
So they knew people weren't going to give up a good party that easily.
Exactly. So they get clever. Pope Gelasius, he's no dummy. He's thinking, okay, we need a Christian celebration around the same time as Lupercalia. They're already in that love and fertility headspace.
Right.
Both.
So kind of a strategic move to bring those old traditions into the Christian fold.
You got it. It's this fascinating mix of old and new, culture and religion all intertwined.
And that mix and match approach, it didn't end back then. I mean, our source mentions that Valentine's Day, it's not celebrated the same way by everyone, even within Christianity.
Yeah, totally. You've got the Eastern Orthodox Church. They actually honor St. Valentine on July 6th and July 30th.
Interesting.
Yeah, and even how people celebrate it today, it's different all over the world. You've got different traditions, different interpretations. It just goes to show you how these things change and evolve over time.
It's amazing, isn't it, how a holiday can go through so many changes, so many years, and still we're here talking about it.
It really is. And it goes to show you how powerful that story of St. Valentine really is.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. This guy was all about bringing people together, defying an emperor, even sending secret love notes from prison.
And it's not just about romantic love, is it?
Right. It's bigger than that,
It's about standing up for what you believe in no matter what. And that's something that speaks to everyone, no matter what you celebrate or how you celebrate it.
for sure. I think in today's world, we need those reminders, those stories about courage, about fighting for what's right, even when it's hard.
Absolutely. Valentine's Day, it's a reminder to be kind, to be compassionate, to cherish the people you love, and to remember that even small acts of love, they can have a huge impact.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Hmm.
So next time you see those Valentine's Day displays, all those hearts and chocolates, think about the real story.
Yeah.
The story of a guy who was willing to risk everything for love and for what he believed in. That's a Valentine's Day message worth remembering. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, folks. Until next time.